Mr. Bischoff, you're the president of the Swiss Auctioneers Association. And I was wondering, according to the Art Basel UBS report, global sales in public auctions have increased in 2018. And I was wondering, does this also apply to Switzerland?
Switzerland is on the fifth place of the international art market. So when the global art market increases, for sure the Swiss market increases as well. But Switzerland makes 2% of the global market, so the numbers are not so big, even if there is an increase in the total.
Can we see maybe an increasement this year?
Predicting in art business is very difficult. There might be some very good sales, then the art market increases enormously, but there can be some bought-ins, some works that did not sell, so the whole market goes down. I'm more or less optimistic that we will have a good year because the first auction series around the world started rather well. But about our auction, I can talk on the 14th of June when we will close the next auction series here in Bern.
At the same time that Art Basel is taking place, how did that happen?
It happened at end of the 60s. Ernst Baylor and some colleagues wanted to create a new art fair in Switzerland, and they knew that there was an auction house that is very internationally orientated, and this is Galerie Kornfeld. So they went to see Mr. Kornfeld, who made his auction sales always in mid of June, and asked him if it would be possible making this art fair during the sales of Kornfeld. Nowadays we are very happy that the art fair takes place at the same time, because we have a lot of international clients that are already in Switzerland, and they take the chance to see our previews in Zurich or in Bern, and even attend our auction sales on these 2 days during the Art Basel fair.
Your clientele is as well international, or most of it is international?
Yeah, I wouldn't say as well. It's most of our clients are international. It's about 70% of our clients. From the seller's perspective, but also from the buyer's perspective. But as every auction house, most of the important works are sold by phone bidders, so they don't take part here in the sales personally. But sometimes we have clients from everywhere around the world that bid up over 1 million, 2 million, and they sit on the floor in our auction room, and everyone can see how the prices develop.
Okay. So you said on the phone, so these people actually didn't really see the work they're buying?
That's not completely true. A lot of them come before, but they prefer not to be named, or they prefer to stay a little bit behind, because we talk about important sums that are paid for certain artworks.
In June 27, you managed to sell a drawing by Paul Gauguin for 2.7 million Swiss francs, and that was a record for your auction house, and the second highest amount that was ever paid for an artwork in Switzerland. So I was wondering, how did you do that? Because you're actually also the auctioneer here, right? So you are selling.
Your numbers weren't completely true, because it was a hammer price of 7.2 and not 2.7.
Oh, actually.
And that makes it really a record price. You can even buy a small oil painting of Gauguin for this price. And we estimated it at 1 million Swiss francs. And it was the highest estimate ever for a drawing of Gauguin in this style. But what happened in the sale is that about 5 clients were bidding up the works until 2.5, 2.7 million. And from then on, a European collector and an American collector were bidding themselves up from 2.7 million to 7.2 million hammer price. What means that at the end, the buyer had to pay more than 8 million Swiss francs for this drawing.
So let's take this example. You said 7.2 million was the hammer price the person paid. How much was the commission or the premium that the bidder had to pay on top?
Switzerland has very low commissions compared to other countries. That makes our country as well so important in the auction sale business. For example, Kornfeld takes until the hammer price of 500,000 only 20% of commission, of the buyer commission, and from 500,000 to 2 million it's 15%, and above 2 million 10%. And compared to other houses, that's much less than they do have. And on top of it, Switzerland does not know the artist resale royalty, as does all the countries or auction houses in the European community. And that makes a 4% more on top of the hammer price. Usually the buyer has to pay because of this artist resale royalty. That makes our position in the international market so strong.
What about the seller? How much or what part does he get?
When you talk about low estimated works, the commission usually is higher. And for very expensive works, the commission gets lower and lower. Usually we say until 40,000 Swiss francs, a hammer price of 40,000, we take a commission of 15%. And above 40,000 to 200,000 almost it's 10. And above 200 we start to negotiate. But today we start to negotiate much earlier because people know how the market works. And when you have to sell something, you are in the stronger position. To sell something in a sale, it's easier than to get it for the sale.
You're a Swiss auction house. Why should a seller come to you and not to, let's say, Christie's, that is a worldwide brand?
I think first of all, it's a people's business. You feel comfortable working with certain people. Kornfeld has 4 partners. When you deal with one of these partners, one of them is Mr. Kornfeld himself, Dr. Kornfeld, who turned 95 last September and is in his office every day since 1945, in fact. So you know how we work, you know how we think, and so you feel comfortable working with a certain auction house. But on the other hand, there are other reasons like low commissions, no artist resale royalty. You can also imagine the Swiss situation of banking, of shipping companies. It's a much more easier way to work with art. And why coming to Kornfeld? We are a boutique auction house, and each work above an estimate of 500,000 for us is a very important work. And we present those works in the main sale. Our competitors internationally, they do not put work for 500,000 in the main sale. The main sales, we talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 10 or 20 million of dollars. And so if people look at the market, they see that works, not the very high priced works, but works around 500,000, 1 million, are much better placed in a house like ours than in a big one because people look at it.
So the Galerie Kornfeld has a very long history in Switzerland as well, but a few years after you, Kohler was established, and meanwhile Kohler is the leading Swiss auction house. So I was wondering, what are you doing to keep up with the competition?
A very difficult question. You know, Kohler is one of our competitors in Zurich, but I would say the numbers sometimes you read in newspapers are not the ones that are really made in the auction sales, and there were many people calculating if these numbers are right or not, and there was a last report that not Kohler is bigger than us, we are bigger than Kohler, but it's always a question how you present yourselves, and Cyril Kohler is a very good PR manager at least. But for sure we are in a competition, but for us the competition is much more with Christie, Sotheby's, the large international houses, because in the field we work in modern art or in post-war art, or even old master prints, that's one of our specialties. We are in an really international competition.
Yeah, because I saw that Kohler, for instance, doesn't only sell art, it sells bags, wine, etc. You focus on art only.
It's only art, and even not every art. We do not work with old master paintings, but very specialized in old master prints.
But the old masters, I heard from Christie's, are doing less well at the moment.
Less well. There are not so many on the market, and when there are not so many works on the market, you can't create a market. That's the main problem. And we see when we get important pieces in the old master prints business, we do very high prices. But for a normal print of Rembrandt, not so rare, many times on the market, you do not get good prices anymore. That's true. Yeah, that's a fact.
What about, you have Chagall here in the background. Is that for the next auction?
That's a work we were entrusted for the next auction sale. There is an estimate of 1.5 million. And Chagall, for example, is a very international artist, and he does sell. He does sell here, he does sell in New York, he does sell in Japan, everywhere.
Are you aiming at a new record this year?
You never know. I think we do not have at the moment such an exceptional piece like this Gauguin, but you don't know. We were entrusted very nice works, for example, of Nicolas de Stael. You see one piece here behind, and at the moment he's doing very well in the market, and we will see what will happen.
Who entrusts you with art?
There are a lot of private clients. That's a very good source because private clients, they own works that weren't so many times on the market. And if something's fresh on the market, usually you get a better price. But for sure, we work together with dealers, we work together with art advisors. When you have all collections, for example, you like to sell regularly some works, and we make plans how to bring those works on the market, because it's like on a vegetables market, when there are too many carrots, the prices goes down. So we try to look that there are not too many works of one artist on the market.
How many of the works don't get sold?
17 to 20%. But sometimes we do, or not sometimes, a lot, we do after sales. So after the sale, clients come and say, oh, I saw this special piece, but it's too high estimated. What could we do something? And then we talk with the owner, and we can sell a lot of works after the sale still. Online
bidding is also coming up a lot. Can a small auction house invest in online bidding?
It's not a question if we can. We have to in a certain way. And there are some platforms that offer these online biddings, so you don't have to develop your own online bidding platform.
So you do it?
No, I'm just trying to start this discussion. The problem we actually have is that even the large auction houses, they do not sell high-priced items in online sales. There was an inquiry where Christie and Sotheby's answered, it happens that sometimes the price goes up to $50,000. People who are collecting art, they want to see what they get. And it's not like buying something on Ricardo or eBay. We saw more the future for online biddings for not so high-priced items, and that's where we are working on at the moment. We prepare a new website, but we are a little bit hesitant to start with the online bidding, because there are many questions. When you have an online bidder sitting on an island close to New Zealand, how can you get there and ask to pay a certain work, for example? There are many, I know this, there are many works not paid that were bought by online biddings.
Don't you have to give your credit card a number and everything? Don't you need to back up or even get your bank guarantee that you can pay that?
Sure. But when we work, for example, in a telephone bidding process, you bid on a certain object. So we exactly know you will bid on this lot number. But in the online bidding platforms, you can bid on each object you want because it's an open sale. And then you have to be very much aware what's going on. I know our colleagues sometimes put some maximums on what people can bid. But imagine you bid on 15,000 and you would like to go to 15,100 and you can't because it's blocked. Then you have a lot of unhappy clients. I'm only saying the future has to go in this direction, but I don't think that in the future we will have only online auctions.
As a younger generation here in Switzerland, are they collecting less?
Collecting art was never a business you started at the age of 20. Usually you start collecting art when you have some money left. And now the question is at what age you have some money left. And I think the main problem of the art market is that there is a complete change of how people work with money. So when you think years ago, you founded a family at the age of 25, you had your children until 40, then they left the house, you had some money to buy art. Nowadays, at the age of 40, you don't even have children. So it's a complete change of how people work with money And when we talk about art collecting, it's a question of money. It's not much money, because 30% of every artwork around the world sold is less than $1,000. And what we try is really to create this new lifestyle of collecting art. It's difficult, very difficult, but I'm really happy that we have some young collectors, not 15 years old, 20 years old, but younger collectors that got this virus to start this art collection business, because nowadays, and that's really a real opportunity, you can get very, very good art at a low price. Not talking about Basquiat, Warhol, all those people, but you have new artists or old artists, forgotten artists, where the prices are very low, and you can create an enormous collection, important collection, high quality collection for less money than much other people did.
What is your outlook for the art market then? You said it's difficult to get new collectors. Where is it going?
There never were thousands of collectors. The art market, even if it's a 60 billion business around the world, it's a small market. Imagine compared to businesses like Walmart. I compare it always with Walmart because we are also a retail business, some kind of. They have 500 billion of revenues every year, so 60 million for the global art market, it's not much. So there are not so many people in this business, but the ones that are in this business are great people. It's so inspiring talking to them. So we have both sides, the creativity of the artist we can work with in the auction sale and the inspiring people that are buying art. So it's really a great job I can do.
Great, thank you so much.